And you can retreat to Nourishing again. And here we go. Match number 1 of the Team Brawl Finals. Simple on the Paladin and Ramrod on the Druid. So, okay.
Great, and we are live and looking at the mulligans here. We have a Wild Growth on, I believe that is
it's
Team
on
Ramrod up top.
Ramrod. Yep, Ramrod is on the top of your screen and Simple on the bottom. Pretty nice. That's something I think. The only pretty nice mulligan. You could keep it all. You could really keep it all, but I think they're gonna put back the Rallying Blade as they know this is not an aggressive druid.
Right.
Where you would not need the
Druid.
board control options here.
So they're just happy to get something more like this, where they're going to curve into Murlocs, into Gentle Megasaur, and generate that early game pressure before Jade Druid does Jade Druid things.
So yeah, this is typically a matchup that Jade Druid struggles with, and unless they can resolve one or more Spreading Plagues.
Exactly. So that is Spreading Plague, dealing with a wide board is the answer that Ramrod would be looking for to deal with this early Murloc pressure.
And to deal with, and speaking of early Murloc pressure, the use of the coin to remove the Murloc tie caller.
Potentially a nod to the Rockpool Hunter being a possibility.
As the Druid, you can't leave that up.
Right.
Your goal is to basically keep their Murlocs off the board, take away their synergies. It's very similar to the Hunter matchup in a way, although the deck is not 100% focused on having Murlocs.
And if they can manage to do that and keep those Murlocs away, and keep the board clear, then they should have a chance to turn this around in the later game.
So Colite Seer is actually a card that was not seen in a lot of Murloc Paladin decks this season.
Right.
But does cement a wider board and deals with damage-based AoE, which doesn't really come into play in this game for the most part, with the exception of Swipe.
And we can see here that Team Simple has gone with a Curator package as well to draw into those Cobalt Scale Banes.
Ooh, a really nice adapt pull from Gentle Megasaur.
Oh yeah.
So either option is okay.
Push out some extra damage.
So you're either pushing 4 additional, or you're pushing 2 additional. So they offer 2 additional to give themselves something a bit more. So this deals with potentially a Spreading Plague a little bit more nicely. And
right.
If you're going for the trade line, there was to be no. That's what you're doing. Just taking the health there is not as beneficial. You definitely want that extra attack.
Right. Once those 1/5s down come down, you want to be able to kill them with your minions.
So we can see in the hand actually off the getaway off the Hydrologist, they took the getaway coda. For what they have on board, pretty good, and what their hand is shaping out to be, really actually super impactful secret.
Yeah, any of those polls looks pretty good. Even if they get the 2/2, it'll be another secret in their hand when it comes back out. So definitely a solid choice for right now.
Simple has to kind of play a little passive here. They cannot widen. They can't go extremely wide on the board because of what's sitting in Ramrod's hat and with the mind control tech.
The mind control tech, and this is an open decklist tournament, so
yes,
when
Simple does know they have
that.
They
know that. Yeah.
That is a possibility. So opting for the ramp off the Nourish, what do you think about that?
I think Malfurion and potentially a Jade Idol is a tempting turn 8 play. Gives them some taunts, especially because Simple doesn't know this, but Ramrod is not holding the Spreading Plague, so anything to hold off this pressure right now.
At this point, you just want to tighten. At this point, Simple looking to tighten the screws a bit. No reason to really trade to make a trade with a 1/1 here.
Right. Druid doesn't have cards that buff besides just one Mark of the Lotus.
Ramrod pretty far behind on the Jade count, unfortunately.
Yeah, they've been able to ramp up their mana, but the Jade ramp is really lacking. And Jade Blossom comes into the hand, but a little late.
So potential lines here, you could play the Malfurion with a Jade Idol behind it.
Right.
Which I think is gonna be probably the line here.
And do you think they're going to be going for the taunts or for the poisons here?
We have to go for taunts.
I think you have to, right?
Yeah.
Or they die.
Because right now they represent 14 damage on board.
Right.
So you go up to 16, putting out. It does go for the taunts. So with you 2 off lethal, coming into turn 6, like a Spikered Steed would have ended the game if they had taken the poisons.
Right, which
you know,
they
Paladin
aren't holding, but could very well be with 2 of in their deck.
Well, Paladin not known for burst, so
No.
any little bits of like taunting lethal, not easy. You're looking at mainly weapons and buffs.
No, Paladin is definitely a class that wants to get that board control and then buff their minions and push damage that way. The Rallying Blade coming out with a little bit of that that very little direct damage that Paladin does have coming out now.
So they opt not to saturate their mana for the Silverhand recruit on account of what their board state is and the fact that they developed their Getaway Kodo.
And hoping for a miracle pull here on the mind control tech.
Oh,
and
nice
that'll
pull!
Do.
Nice pull. I think you have to. You still aren't 100% out of the weeds yet.
Right.
You still need to.
Still looking at a trade. Still in trouble here. Gonna weaken.
You can
the
mitigate
stats
some
a bit.
damage though.
Yeah, absolutely.
It feels
There's
very.
that
It does feel kind of bad to give the rock pull back.
Right, and at this point, Ramrod has to know that they're dealing with a Getaway Kodo, so...
Or Redemption, yeah.
Right, that's fair. Redemption hasn't been triggered yet either. But either way, they're going to want to try to take out the lowest value minion they can.
Right.
Death is eternal.
Well, they already checked for Noble Sacrifice, but I think they're going to opt for armor and possibly a trade here on the 2/2.
And it looks like one minion will survive here, which is going to allow Team Simple to Bone Mare, potentially next turn.
Oh yeah, there's absolutely, yeah, I don't see in what world you would not Bone Mare here.
Bone Mare, the card that has taken over the meta.
Yeah, who knew a 5/5 that gave of a Blessing of Kings to something and taunt would be really good, and that is going to do it for game 1. Simple, taking down the Jade Druid of Ramrod.
And a strong opener with the Murloc Curator Paladin there. And let's see, what do you think is going to be counter-queued here?
Well, you got the one deck that the Simple lineup really feasts on out of the way. The Jade Druid is
Right.
eliminated. Now you're free to deal with this. So, of the remaining decks, you probably are looking at, like, maybe Shaman are probably your best bet.
Yeah, Shaman, definitely a strong counter pick, and
Possibly Mage too, but I think they actually teched against Mage. With
and
their,
the Mage
with their
has
choice.
been banned on both.
The Mage
ends.
was banned on both sides.
So-
Excuse me. Sorry.
So looking at Ramrod's choices here, the Evolve Shaman definitely looks probable.
I think that's probably the way to go.
They could also potentially queue the Mirror.
Yeah.
Which their list is a bit heavier than Simple's list.
Okay, so that goes a little bit deeper.
It goes a bit deeper, so not running the Curator package and instead running Tyrion and no Cold Lightseers, so a later game package.
Right. Okay. So they do.
So
they
maybe
actually
they like the
they
mirror.
opted into Priest. Actually, that's right. Priest was left up.
Priest is up, so they could always play the Highlander, and it looks like we do have the Priest that has been picked here, indeed. So Ramrod feeling that it's time to take out the big guns, or the machine gun, to be more specific.
In this case, it's kind of like you know exactly what you're looking for in this matchup. It's not 100. It's still semi-unfavorable for the Priest, in my opinion, because you only have so many resources to deal with so many threats.
Right.
It's kind of like the matchup last time. Should the Paladin come off the blocks, with a foot on the gas, it's going to be very difficult for the Priest to respond in kind.
Ramrod with a pretty strong opening hand here, looking at Radiant Elemental into Acolyte into Rizakis, or Kazakis, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the name of the deck, but it's kind of funny we just call him Rizakis now.
You're the Rizakis now.
So
And the Paladin with a strong curve as well.
yeah, so Ramrod at least has some options here. They can do Radiant Element. They can use the Radiant Elemental to clear off the Grimscale Chum, and perhaps
Combo into the
yeah,
Holy Smite.
yeah. I think if you do this line, you kind of have to clear that out because if they have a Rockpool Hunter, then they just
It's a lot of stats.
It's a lot of stats, and then you also like didn't get any value out of Radiant Elemental.
Right. Oh, and let's go ahead and see what Simple is talking about here with this play.
Let's go through a little ride along, with Simple.
I like just playing the 2 to 3.
I do too, because we saw the Smite.
And that way,
It would be
so
4
like,
second hero power. That's
Yeah, we're okay with this too.
if he bumps in hero powers, we can play the war leader and trade it off.
Or really dodges pain.
Mhm.
Wait, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It didn't get a buff. Never mind. We're hoping for the buff.
It's true, that's fine.
No, we can trade here.
If only it gave it health again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're not pressed about that because the war leader is going to contest the 2-3 anyway, so
This doesn't change anything, yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, get the yep. Get her out of here.
So you can see there that Simple definitely pretty happy with the way their hands shaping up. Ramrod was looking for more cycle at that turn, and they did get it. So at least the play of the Northshire Cleric resulted in a neutral value swing for them. They were able to recoup the card that they used to spend to play the Northshire Cleric.
Right. And Simple, of course, respecting the card draw, which is so important for Highlander Priest. And that Kazakus potion is huge with the 4 damage to all minions, the potential to deal with these Murlocs.
Yeah, that's kind of like exactly what you're looking for off the Kazakus potion in this matchup. And they should be able to recoup at least one of these minions in this exchange. Although a Finja coming down kind of hurts.
And let's tune in and see how Ramrod wants to deal with this Finja.
That could
It's gonna hurt a little bit.
be trouble.
Could. It's gonna hurt off a Grimscale Chum, but it shouldn't be a problem. He's got other value trade. Yeah, he's not gonna value trade. That's fine.
Okay, we got the so.
Yep, just leave it. Just leave it alone. Do
Just
say
hit
no.
face and
No. He's gonna kill either one regardless.
do we put the blood mage out for card draw?
No, we're gonna save that.
Okay. Oh wait. Oh yeah. That could be comboed. So.
It's either Alchini Soul Priest for a bigger minion or Acolyte of Pain. I'd say Alchini Soul Priest right now. Probably the best bet. The bigger minion on board, and then next turn we could use the power if needed. And now just punch face. Like I said, we got the Kazakus that's going to help out a little bit.
Yeah.
And
He's gonna kill it right.
And you can see from the conversations here that some debate going back and forth between Numsky and Sam.
You can tell they're feeling the pressure about how to deal with that Finja, which is rightfully so. The stealth really makes a big difference.
Oh, absolutely.
So they were, I think they were considering maybe using the Kazakus potion, but I think they're looking to combo that with the Blood Mage Downos here.
Right. For the possibility to clear what comes down now. And interesting to note, Lesimos is not available for these finals.
Yes, he is swimming for Arcadia University today, so we wish him best of luck on that.
Meanwhile, Ramrod fights on, and debatably a slight disadvantage with Sam Wynn and Numsky left to debate choices together with no tiebreaker.
I think this Kazakus potion is what you like to call a gem, though. This clears everything in your Alkanai lives.
Oh yeah, this is exactly what you want to be coming down right now.
Yeah.
To answer this board.
Gets
And respecting the redemption, perhaps.
respect it. Yeah, you have to respect the redemption here, because if you do your AOE and they have a redemption, you're basically like giving them priority turn back.
Give them a target for Cobalt Scalebane.
The last thing you want to do is give the Morelli Paladin the priority turn where they can attack after you've played your minion and they played theirs.
Right.
Scalebane a fine play here to couple with the Vile Fit Inquisitor.
And simple understanding that they're going to need a minion on the board coming into turn 7.
Yeah, this is kind of like what that danger area where the longer you leave a minion up, the more you're tempting fate, kind of, was between Spike Ridge Steeds and Bone Mares.
And Ramrod has to be thinking about that. Let's see what they're talking about right now as they consider the next play.
No, because I want to save it for next turn. The reason why he did that is that the next turn he's going to put out probably Spike Ridge Steed, and by Spike Ridge Steed is going to need the silence for it. So
Yeah.
Tar Creeper and I say Tar Creeper and Acolyte of Pain, and then pass, and that's it. And depending on what he puts it on is going to be the big thing. If we need to, like I say, we have Wild Pyromancer into like something else to. If we need to kill things, we can. Plus, we could also get some card draw with it too. So we're actually not in a bad spot, but we're okay. There's other things he can do too, which is another bone there. Curious is fine.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's actually not that bad.
And Curator comes down rather than Bone Mare, and you can see Ramrod trying to be careful there.
Yeah, well, with the Cobalt Scalebane buff going onto the Curator, actually makes it targetable now. Like the priest can now interact with that minion.
Right,
Whereas
moving off the 4 attack.
So,
And we do see the Dragonfire Potion enter Ramrod's hand, but let's keep in mind that Scalebane is a dragon.
yeah, it is. So a lot of things that Kazakus Priest has been doing, they've been including things to deal with the Cobalt Scalebane, namely Holy Fire.
Right.
This deck, I do not believe, has a copy of it in there.
I don't believe so. I had a chance to look at the deck list a little before, and I didn't see a Holy Fire in Ramrod's list. Could be wrong. Looks like Team Simple is in deep discussion, though. Should we listen in and see what they're talking about?
Yeah, let's see what they're thinking about as far as their next turn coming up.
Kind of makes me think. I don't know. They've been taking a long time with this, which kind of makes me think they might have it or something like top deck. What is it?
Top.
Oh, that's fine.
Wow.
We take that every time.
What? Silence? Bro, that's not good. Oh, that's gonna be good. Alright, we gotta think about this turn now.
I think the Megasaurus
The Megasaur play seems super safe. Also, if we get certain buffs, if there's something like that, you can follow.
Are we making the trade 5-1 to 3-1?
I think so.
Yeah, that seems like something that should happen almost
This
all the
always
time.
happens, yeah. Because we're playing for value.
Right,
And there's no Dragonfire, so we can go wide.
right. So wait, do we want to? How wide do we want to go? Do we want to hero power first or no? Like, do you want to? Are we
I
playing a
want hero
Megasaur
power.
this turn?
Yeah, yeah, we're
Okay.
playing Megasaur.
Gotcha.
Because Pyromancer, all their clears are gone. So everything sticks. Yeah. +1/+1?
And Simple recognizing now that the board clears are gone.
Well, yeah, the easy board clears are now all but eliminated. So now they can kind of play as wide as they want, with the only real threat being Shadow Word Horror, and a lot of your minions get above that now.
Yeah, and that's a 2-card combo, and Team Ramrod's hand is starting to look empty.
Oh,
Oh,
Ramrod steals
That
the
is
Spike Ridge Steed, so that
spicy.
will help.
Definitely. So a 5/9 taunt coming down.
But the big threat is sitting right in the center, in the card second to the left in the symbol hand, which is the second Megasaur, which is I believe was recouped from the getaway Kodo.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So a very clutch recovery there.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of getaway
Speaking of
Kodo,
getaway, there's
they're
another
very
one.
happy with that. And the Tarum coming down, and now this makes sense. I like this a lot because it allows them to deal with the Spike Ridge Seed target.
Yep, and they're definitely looking to set up a getaway Kodo for your Tarum now.
And now this trades nicely into the 2/6 as well. You can bump 2 minions in, and they'll stay alive.
Right. In this matchup, the health of your minions now is no longer relevant for the most part.
With the board clears gone, I think.
With the only,
you know,
your only board clear left really is Downose and Spirit Lash. Yeah.
Right.
Which doesn't really clear.
And I think they're happy if that comes down because that leaves 3 minions up. Oh, and there's the Spirit
Lash. You know, speak of it and it shall appear.
And Ramrod just trying to find some answer to this board. It's looking pretty grim. I don't know that they have any outs. Can you think of any, Adam?
I mean, in this situation, if you somehow got Pint-Size Horror, you could deal with this current board. But now you've got the issue. Yeah.
Oh boy.
You got the
here it comes. All right, let's see what Simple's talking about here as they.
I think this should. Oh wow. Okay. So unfortunately, one of the few instances where they cannot put a lot of pressure on.
But the health playing around that potential Spirit Lash.
Yeah.
Later. Didn't full clear.
Well,
But
what really is the X factor here is that getaway Kodo that Ramrod has to play around now, because now you're either giving them a Tarum or a Megasaur. 3 Megasaur is kind of backbreaking.
Yeah, and they've already gotten one off a getaway Kodo. It's starting to look like that's been able to give Simple a lot of extra gas in the tank. Those getaway Kodos.
So they did draw the Shadow Word Death. So if you play it here on the taunted Megasaur,
oh, that's gonna be brutal because it's gonna come back.
They do not know of the trap they are walking into, where they're going.
It's a trap.
It is a trap.
Okay, and
I believe Teddy Roosevelt said that.
Let's see what Ramrod wants to do to deal with this situation.
Well, Spirit Lash will at least give you some health back, and gives you a cycle with the.
That's true. Full heal.
You can go back to full. However, lethal could be represented here, depending on what this dinosaur does.
And I'm looking at Wind Fury and. Oh, and you can see them hovering over the cold lights here, which would obviously leave no space for the Megasaur.
Well, I think they're weighing their options and thinking, like, if you don't get lethal this turn, then what do we do? But I think they're okay trading their fighter. And there's the Wind Fury.
There's the Wind Fury,
and that I believe should wrap it up. That's 18. That's 18 damage just for Murlocs.
And another 10, 28. That actually looks like 2 off.
2 off lethal.
3.
But. Ramrod on their last gasp here.
And I believe Akanai has already come down, correct?
Akanai has already been used.
That clear is not possible.
Yeah, it was used for tempo earlier in the game, I believe.
Unless they have, I think there's another. Nope, and that will be all she wrote.
Yeah, I don't know how you get out of this. Maybe you can draw something off the loot hoard, but I think
even with the full 8 points of heal that's available in your hands.
I mean, you still just play. Play it out.
Right.
Yeah, Binding Heal's still a bit of a heal, but it's still not enough, unfortunately.
Right, gives them a total of 16 points healing.
What I'm actually curious, I really want to hear the comms going into the next game for Ramrod, see what they're thinking of, how they're going to beat this Paladin.
Especially with these bans. Let's go ahead and listen into Ramrod here.
All right, we need to beat this, sir.
Is everything okay so far? Cool. I'm not talking over you or anything.
So, all right. Do we go the Do we go the zoo then?
No, I say we go the Shaman. Because
Shaman?
it gets all that big board on with small minions. All we have to do is devolve if needed. I think it's probably a better play than using
Okay.
Zoo.
All right, so it sounds like a Ramrod talking it over,
Yeah,
looking to
I
go.
kinda-
I'm fine with devolving.
Okay, so it looks like Ramrod is opting to go to Shaman, which is actually it has some answers for the Murloc Paladin, mainly in the form of devolve.
Right, and I'm actually going to check these deck lists now. I'm curious to see if they're running the double devolve package, because the second devolve is a tech card. So interesting to see here.
So into game number 3 we go. Once again, bottom of your screen, Team Simple on the Paladin. Top of your screen, Team Ramrod on the Shaman.
And they are running the 2 devolves, so...
So this is it's a pretty classic tournament setup for the
Right.
Shaman. Sometimes you see stuff enter the fold like Sea Giants to deal with other decks that like to go wide, so you can get a high value minion.
And funny you mentioned that Team Simple's
Does-
Shaman deck
does
is
have a
running
Sea Giant.
double Sea Giant.
Here we see on the far right a extremely interesting tech choice for Team Simple, which is the Crazed Alchemist, which I can only believe to deal with Doomsayer early in the game.
The
to
Doomsayer, but it
punish
will
early
be huge
Doomsayer.
against this Shaman right
Oh,
here
it's
with
yes,
the
it's true,
0/3 totems and
So-
the Mana Tide, and
Yeah, it has a lot of use in this match. I mean, this is just
it's just going to come right out on the 0/3, which I don't know about that. There are other 0/3 totems which could be even
two mana
more
kill a
threatening.
totem, Primal Fin or otherwise is still
Pretty good.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's right.
So Ramrod looking for a little bit of a more passive turn. Didn't really have anything to develop. No reason to use the Devolve in hand, which you can see in the second card to our left.
And
It
was
isn't-
that a keep in their mulligan?
I
or-
believe so. Yeah.
Which I can definitely see
'Cause
that
you
if
could-
I'm saying...
So you could hear Samwin on the comment saying, let's use the let's
I
play
like
the
the
Devolve.
Right.
And I think that's the best deck to have remaining that can handle the Paladin, which I said at the, after match 2, it was one of the better decks for this particular format
Right.
because it has this propensity to take wins away from decks where it should not normally.
Oh, absolutely. With the early game Murloc pressure, the
Yeah,
possibility to
Because
curve
your
out
board
and
is
just-
your board is so good.
Oh, and a second Crazed Alchemist there, so...
So yeah, it is a double Crazed Alchemist build.
Ooh,
As you can
and
see
the
now, a
Blessing of
6/6
Kings.
Alchemist with the Blessing of Kings.
Just Team Simple coming out with incredible pressure. Let's see how Ramrod is going to deal with it.
Well, you have some options here. I think you have to... You can't clear it, unfortunately. You can devolve it, but I think that's you're kind of playing right into the Paladin's favor there if you do this on one minion.
Absolutely. I mean, there are definitely stronger devolve targets coming up with a Spike Ridge Steeds. Potentially devolving a Finja could be really important here. So we see the Jade Lightning come down.
Well, it gives you another minion on board.
Right, and now they could theoretically trade in
Yeah.
next turn.
I feel as though, like, maybe you didn't... I guess you did need to trade there. Because if you didn't do that, then you couldn't have any way to deal with it next turn. And you could deal
Right.
one damage so easily in this deck.
Oh, absolutely.
But if this gets Kings again,
then
that would be...
Well, then
Very-
maybe
well-
the devolve comes down.
Yeah, then maybe you see the default. Well, actually, you would just play the other Jade Lightning and then
Oh,
trade
right,
your minion
right,
in. So they don't want to... so Simple knowing
Well,
that they
unless
don't
they
want
clear
to
with the
invest
3/1.
everything in one minion.
Right, spreading their resources out a little bit more.
They might flip their own... They might flip their own Crazed Alchemist around. I think that's what they're reaching for here.
And I can see that, getting a minion to stick to the board a little bit more.
Oh yeah, if that Crazed Alchemist takes on a Spike Ridge Steed or the other Blessing of Kings, which is already in Simple's hand,
Right.
that's extremely hard for the Shaman to deal with. Now you really need... Now Devolve is looking real nice.
And these Crazed Alchemists just looking like really strong tech cards.
Would you say they're looking crazy?
I would say so, Adam. I would. Let's see what it looks like. Team Ramrod is leaning in here. Let's see what they're talking about.
Wait. Definitely taking a lot of thoughtful turns here, and they're going to have to really take their time here. We will get to we'll be able to get ooh, a pretty nice devolve there. Does clear out actually clear out 6 damage because of the Wretched Tiller.
All pretty solid, except for the Flame Imp, which is going to get cleared out by patches now.
That was actually a nice turn for Ramrod.
Very solid turn, and now all of a sudden,
Simple
looking like they're in a bit of trouble here, with just Finja and Blessing of Kings, and Shaman ready to refill their hands with the Mana Totem.
And there's the Tyrion on the draw.
Oh, and the Tyrion is definitely the top deck that you want to see here.
Well, now that you've seen no devolve, I think you can just play things, make your highest value play possible.
Right.
Not have to play around anything really.
Right, knowing there's a second devolve, but one card in the entire deck, not something you want to play around anymore.
You can see in the middle of the hand though, Ramrod has the Thrall Death Knight, which has bounced in and out of a lot of these lists during this competition.
Right, Thrall being obviously a very strong card once you have minions on the board, but in certain matchups being problematic because of the inability to generate more tokens.
Right, you forgo being able to make tokens, which is what you do,
right,
in exchange for potentially one turn of a large potential tempo swing.
And then if your board gets cleared when you have Thrall Deathseer,
then you have nothing.
It's over. Yeah,
it's just very hard to recoup.
Absolutely.
So the other Blessing
of Kings
going on to Finja.
Which I like that play quite a bit.
I think they're trying to sniff out, ooh, you could have a really big evolve turn here if you really wanted it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's 3 levels of evolving.
And I actually like an evolve here because you have a chance of re-rolling. Oh, but it looks like they've gone with a different line here, just choosing instead to
play some board control, yeah.
Exactly. Try to keep that board clear.
Let's actually go and listen to their comms and see what they're caucusing about on Team Simple.
Because Bloodlust is getting a little scary.
Yeah.
They're going to be at 7 guys. Not taunt. Alright. Ooh, Doomsayer.
Ooh, Millhouse Mana Storm.
Do we get Wind Fury?
What happens if we get Wind Fury?
If we get Wind Fury and +3 health, we have a couple trades, but that's like we have to high roll twice.
But that's probably our best chance to use these.
Alright, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Wind Fury, take that first, yep. And then maybe +1/+1 would be really good. Yeah, take that.
Because
And
+3 attack
getting
over
just what they
better.
need.
I think we can clear 4 things off with
Okay.
+1/+1.
This goes here.
All right, so Simple looking for the high rolls on the Megasaur and being rewarded for their efforts.
Ask and you shall receive.
They'll be able to clear off a fair amount of minions here.
Looking at a lot of trades here, and if they are able to deal with this board, it's going to represent a problem for Team Ramrod, who's starting to run out of gas. Thrall Deathseer in hand, but not too many minions left.
Well, you can use the Deathseer here, but I think because you use the Evolve, it's still risky. You still can't play into any large minion or Tyrion, which is the lone card in Simple's hand.
The House Mana Storm getting a great trade.
It's a fair trade. It was an on-par trade. I just don't know what...
2-drop into a 5-drop seems good.
Yeah, is there a world where you would get your 5/5 off the Twilight Summoner? I think you might. Oh, okay. So they're actually going to use the Flame Tongue and use the Wild Pyromancer to clear off the 5/4 or the 5/4 Megasword, which is pretty good actually because you just leave no targets. They have 1 card. If it was a Steed, they can't use it at the moment.
Right.
And you can once again go back to widening your board state.
Respecting those Paladin buff cards.
Yeah, you have to respect the Spiker Steed and the Bone Mare.
And Team Ramrod's starting to look like it's in a pretty good spot. Although Tyrion threatening to come down, arguably the best value legendary in the game.
Yeah, card's been in since Classic. Everyone knows exactly what you're getting into when you get into Paladin.
Oh yeah.
Very few Paladin decks have been run without Tyrion.
And Ramrod really going all in here, threatening to potentially Thrall next turn and close things out.
Yeah. You could okay, so looking to opposite around playing the Tyrion. Just in, I think in the event of the default. Ooh.
And I think it's...
You have a potential turn 10. You could just maybe clear this.
Totem pass and...
Yeah, you could like work the. You could maybe work this guy down.
Right.
A little bit. Get a 5/5 out of this.
The Doppelgangster is a very strong draw.
Very
here.
yeah, and with Ramrod having no AoE, but this Paladin opts around not using Consecrates.
Right.
They do not have a way to deal with a Doppelgangster just played on its own.
Right. Got to cut something for those crazed alchemists and those blessing.
Yeah, you just didn't have. Yeah, you just didn't have room. All right. So once again, we are in a situation with Shaman with a board and Paladin with a Tyrion, and Tyrion can hold the board just fine.
He can hold the board.
I think the question is, do you give up all your minions to kill Tyrion, then do your evolving? I think that might be the best line.
That's the question,
Or
right?
you might just do the Doppelgangster now.
Thrall double evolving means they won't have to worry about the Doomsayer next turn.
Yep, you get around Doomsayer 100%. And here he comes. Simple putting their faith in the light as per Tyrion. Doppelgangster
We'll
the
see
draw.
if Tyrion can hold off this horde of tokens, which is about to become very threatening. Oh, another Doppel draw here.
Another Doppelgangster draw, yeah. Not 100% yet, but it does play into your, if you resolve Death to your Thrall, you will have something that plays into your ability a lot more nicely.
And Ramrod getting all the tools they need here.
Do you trade your 4/1 is the question.
Let's see what Ramrod's talking about here as they close out this game.
I got balls for days on that one.
Yeah, I think
All three
we'll
of
send
them
all
face.
these face.
Yep.
We'll put these over here.
Yep.
Then
And
we'll Brawl.
Brawl. I don't really care.
And we're just
Good. I'm actually
Oh,
fine with, I'm
with-
fine, I'm
with
fine
Eden
with that.
too. That's
I'm fine with that. There's
that gives us
nothing,
a 5/5.
there's nothing he can do. There's nothing they can do. It's pretty much them
Yeah.
who's about to die.
That's game.
And that is game. Ramrod finally getting on the board here.
Yeah, expunges the Murloc threat and gets on the board. Shaman doing the job. It was actually kind of smart that they didn't pull it out right away.
Absolutely. I really like waiting for the Thrall Deathseer. Gave them the chance to generate a few more tokens with their Shaman hero power.
Yeah, they sat on that Thrall for just the right moment.
Absolutely.
And they got a tremendous... That
They
Thrall
were
evolve
rewarded.
was tremendous. They got nothing bad.
Oh, huge. The Baron doing 2 damage, but obviously a board full of 7-drops, you're not
Well,
worried about 2
it hit your
damage.
own Twilight Summoner.
Yeah.
I see no problem
here.
I see no danger here.
So now the question is, Simple, how are they going to deal with this? And it looks like they're queuing the mage or the priest.
The priest deck. The priest deck actually has it's a fairly nice time against a deck like this.
Oh yeah.
Although, a wide board unanswered into a Bloodlust still is, I would say 50% of the time how Shaman takes these games down.
Shaman's going to be looking for that early Bloodlust, because obviously Bloodlust is coming down before that turn 6, Dragonfire. And they're otherwise going to be looking for a Doppel Evolve to close this out. If Priest is given enough time, they're going to get their engine up and running, and that's going to be it for the Shaman.
You cannot give the Priest any time.
And Shaman...
Ramrod with a pretty nice early turn against Priest to counter what we can see that's in Simple's hand, which would be the...
Oh, and Galaka Crawler
What
off
a
the
top deck. That will
And
absolutely
that
answer this. And that just... Wind
Oof.
sails removed.
And now, what went from being a very strong turn 1, Ramrod is left in a tricky situation where Flame Tongue does not clear the 3-4.
No.
Should we listen into Ramrod and see how they want to deal with the situation?
Yeah, they have to be feeling a lot of pressure here. Let's give it a listen.
The only thing I would think we'd do with that one is maybe I say Flame Tongue Totem into it. Oh, not even that. It's not even going to make it. All they're gonna do is
Yeah,
heal.
he's gonna heal. So we just got a hero power.
We're in a bad spot. I'd say Primal Fin for this. I'd say Primal Fin because it gives us a 1/1 minion on the board, and then
Yeah,
might be able to survive off of a freaking him not having
something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
him not having Potion of Madness, and then we could probably kill it. But either way, we're kind of screwed, really. Yeah, just punch face. Top text for days, man.
Okay, so you can see that like already turn 1 and Ramrod feeling the pressure because of the Galactic Crawler top deck.
The Galactic Crawler just game-changing to have a turn 2, clear a minion, generate a 3-4.
Yeah, and things were looking like up until that moment, things were looking pretty good for Ramrod as far as their opener.
Oh yeah, the Flame Tongue Totem, the Primal Fin Totem, and the Blood Cell Corsair.
Yeah. Now things looking. Now they're gonna have to navigate
grim.
much more cautiously.
Absolutely, and Shadow Reaper, as we can see entering Simple's hand. Now they have the late game threat that
They have
need.
they have their win condition.
Absolutely. So
I mean, you could just win by attrition in this deck for the most part, but you don't have a whole lot of minions to to hang your hat on.
Right.
Especially ones that are going to be pretty resilient. Your most resilient minions really come in the form of like, Raza and Velen, which are pretty much primarily used to finish the game, first enable your engine and then end the game.
right, when Priest has the early board, you know you're in trouble, because Priest doesn't exactly have a lot of early game minions.
Okay, so Ramrod opting to trade away, take away some of the cycling power of from Simple by removing the Northshire Cleric with their patches, pushing a little bit of damage too. Both of those minions not long for this world though, unfortunately, because of the Galactic Crawler. And now Ramrod Simple looking to protect their board.
Tar Creeper comes down and 0-3 gets cleared. And
I think there was
have
no
to
reason
say
not to do that.
I have to say I didn't really like keeping the 3-1. I didn't like not trading the 3-1 into the Galaka because they do have Maelstrom Portal in hand.
I think it's because they knew that it could be healed. You all heard them on comms.
Right.
Stan was saying, he's just going to heal it.
That
And he's right.
Right.
So you only offset their turn a little bit, but right now it's not these are kind of like the early turns where Priest is struggling anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Kazakus top deck.
And these top decks,
Simple, really
getting what they need.
hammering it home. Yeah.
yeah. And trying to decide here. Oh, the 4 damage Shaw minions looks very good against the Shaman, although Shaman doesn't have the board right now.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe they just want more minions.
Yeah, maybe. 2 friendlies coming back is Northshire Cleric and potentially one other thing.
Right, which has yet to die.
Yet to die, yeah.
So, and, let's see if we can hover over. And looks like
so they
they've
took the
gone with
health. I think that was actually the best one there because
The
they have a
health and
cemented board
minions.
already.
Right.
So if they want to play that next turn, if they decide they want to go wide on the board, they have an answer.
And the way this works, correct, Adam, these happen at the same time.
Well,
So
the
even if
minions would get
4
health first, and then the 4
Right.
damage would be dealt.
So the 4 damage isn't going to clear Team Simple's board here.
Correct. In this instance, it would not. They would cement their board with minions receiving 4 damage. So basically, every minion would be back to pretty much where it's at right now.
And then healable for potential Circle of Healing synergy or Priest heals. So Simple having everything seemingly that they need. Let's tune in maybe and see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Let's tune in to Team Simple's voice comms and see how they want to navigate this turn here.
They tried to high roll us, but they got not a good statted 7-drop.
Do we just run this and then heal this? This doesn't quite do it? Or is this, then this? Yeah, that's better.
Wait. Why is it better to trade it first?
Yeah, you get the buff first.
Oh, okay. The buff goes first. Okay.
Well, it just keeps it anyways.
Oh, okay.
They gave me a mini heart attack.
Wait,
not gonna lie.
They gotta just stay on board.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you,
this is the better one.
Yeah.
so you can see here, even Simple trying to talk over how the ordering of the Kazakhstan potion works, and it usually works. Works exactly how we mentioned it would work, where they got basically got the health and then immediately got lost to the damage.
It is a little scary when that happens because the damage comes out first, so you see your minions going down to 0.
Oh yeah, you get a little
and
scared.
then you
Yeah,
get the +4 afterwards, and no, they survive.
So right now, I think Ramrod is just kind of in damage control mode. They're kind of the hand looking not super optimal.
Oh, I mean, that Galaka Crawler's still on the board on turn 6.
Yeah.
Just doing incredible
Yeah,
damage.
they've gotten a lot of value out of Galaka Crawler.
You know, and 3-4 getting constantly healed, constantly clearing out totems.
Yeah, what Ramrod really needs here is they need to draw something big to evolve and
Right.
another evolve.
And an evolve has already come down, so...
So you're looking really
you're
at
looking
maybe Death's trying to last till turn 10 as Deck Speaker, but
Right.
you might not get there with the way that things are shaping up in this Simple hand with Shadow Reaper Anduin and smack dab in the middle with a Mind Blast.
Now, there is always a chance, right?
Yeah, you never rule anything out.
And you can always devolve into, you know, a Tickling Abomination or something later on. And, you know, Raz of the Chains still having yet to be drawn.
Yeah,
for Simple.
It's kind of crazy. And the deck kind of feasts or famine on whether or not you draw 2 cards in a 30-card deck.
Right.
Which makes it amazing and scary at the same time.
Right, this deck really does exemplify draw RNG.
Silence the pickup for Simple.
And playing the Spirit Lash, which obviously gives them the extra draw from the Acolyte. It's
Yeah,
very
they're
strong
gonna get
play.
2 draws out of this. A really good Acolyte for them.
Oh,
The second Spirit Lash. The first Spirit Lash, I believe, was off the
off the Shadow Visions, correct.
yes.
And healing the Acolyte, because why not? Let's draw some more.
Well, the deck lives and dies on cycling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The further you are through the deck, the more likely you are to find your machine gun and eventually, you know, find your
Find your
victory.
unlimited ammunition.
Yeah, I mean not unlimited. You do have a finite amount of ammunition, but
Right.
you have that is how you will probably end the game.
Absolutely. Oh, and Doppelgangster entering Ramrod's hand, so maybe a glimmer of hope here if they can also draw their Thrall Deathseer or a second Evolve to combo with it.
So 7 cards in hand for.
Although with Shadow Reaper in hand, a possibility to clear those 3, 6, or 7 drops as well.
Yeah, so as easily as Shaman can swing the game around with a evolve turn off Doppelgangster, this card can take it away. But Simple opting to not go that route and instead realizing that they're in the driver's seat and they want to step on the gas.
Right, and with this 2 damage hero power, any totem that comes out now is just going to get cleared off right away. So it's going to be very difficult for the Shaman now to establish and maintain a board.
So Death Speaker Thrall or Evolve next turn is pretty insane for Ramrod.
Oh, especially with the thing from below, another 6 drop to Evolve.
Well, I think here you have the Shadow Word Death. You may as well just remove that.
Right, I think Shadow Word Death probably comes down here with the Priest of the Feast.
Yeah, you go to full. You miss, because
Seems
you
good.
have a hero power you have to pay for. You miss out on potentially 2 more damage, but
Right. And
Not
that
the
is
end of
the
the world.
power of Raz of the Chain, but
Right.
Priest still in a commanding position here, and with Dragonfire just sitting in hand, waiting to clear another board when it comes
just
out.
waiting to strike.
Yeah. And Simple in a good spot here.
Yeah.
Should we tune into their voice comms?
You can see on their faces right now. They're feeling
They
pretty
seem
confident
very
about
relaxed.
what's going on. And Especially Freya's. Freya's not.
Freya's laughing a little bit here.
Freya's, you know.
Royce with a
What's in
smile
the
on his face.
What's in the box?
The dick in that box.
Yeah, I don't know. This is. What were they hoping for? So were they trying to were they looking for spell power to start to do something, or like
I
don't know.
guess so. I don't know what else. So this is their
Thrall.
Thrall's fine.
If they're gonna do it, they got to do it soon. So we have.
Okay, so Simple recognizing the position that Ramrod's in here, and I think they did have their read on that they were looking for a Maelstrom portal kind of turn.
Right, and the hero power coming out first to synergize with the double Maelstrom portal, which would have cleared almost all of Team Simple's minions, but Taunt Totem comes out instead, and Ramrod's hole gets a little deeper here. Things looking desperate. Let's tune into Ramrod's voice comms and see if they can find a way out of this.
Spell damage totem, please. I mean, or Thrall, or Evolve. I mean... Okay, here we go.
Like the umpteenth time. Wow. How
Do
many
we
times?
have to-
How many times has it been that? What, 6 or
Yeah.
7 times we've totemed up and we can't get Wrath of Air for the life of us?
Do we have to double this?
Yeah, double it and get done with it. I don't really care right now. Just double Maelstrom and be done with it.
And as you can see, Team Ramrod getting a little discouraged as Raza comes off the top of the deck for Team
With a power
Simple.
word shield. Wow.
Wow, indeed. And I can only imagine that Raza is going to come into play right away.
If only they could kill their Weasel Tunneler. No.
Weasel Tunneler coming out to troll the game.
Well, 2 Weasel Tunnelers would. If they got 2 Weasel Tunnelers and found a way to clear it, you could ruin your Raza play.
Oh, right.
So maybe threatening a Bloodlust, but I still don't feel like there's any danger. And I think we're going to see a Raza into probably a power. Yeah, I think we're looking to just push some
And
face
it looks
damage.
like lethal to me. Plenty of spells here to close out with an extra 3 damage from the Priest of the Feast.
Let's see. So 3, 8.
Oh yeah,
It's
with
gonna
a
be
Mind
close.
Blast. That's lethal with a Mind Blast.
Yeah, since they have
absolutely.
a silence.
And the silence
that's
and
gonna
the
be
power
it, yeah.
shield. So Team Simple coming back and taking this Shaman out.
In game 4, so going up 3-1.
And so now Team Ramrod's Jade Druid, or Jade Druid and... Oh, I'm sorry, the Shaman is out and the Paladin is out?
I think Paladin still. Yeah, I believe Paladin got eliminated.
Right. So now Team Ramrod being left with the choice how to answer this Priest.
Well, you don't have Warlock or Mage.
Warlock and Mage being out.
You could try to pull your Hunter. You self-ban your Hunter.
Right.
Um,
Could we perhaps see either a mirror match or potentially a Tempo Rogue queue into this?
you pull your Tempo Rogue out now. It is a good match for you.
It's
But-
not that good though, right?
I mean, it's good enough.
At this point, it's.
Oh, so
Here.
they did
and
have the Paladin.
They
left.
do have the Paladin left. Okay, so sorry, it was Simple whose Paladin was eliminated by the Shaman.
by the
I'm sorry.
Shaman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now the Team Ramrod's Paladin coming out, and I believe that Ramrod's Paladin has foregone the Curator package
Yeah.
and is instead running sort of a higher end curve with no Cold Light Seers.
Yeah, correct. They go for more. Some of their mid game options are more like I believe they run Dread Corsair. They do like the Dread Corsair patches package in the deck.
And we're getting confirmation on that right now. Yes, indeed, the pirate package instead, and the double true silver champion.
Yeah, so they've opted for a more board centric one. That
And
doesn't
a
really-
Lich
that's-
King as well.
It doesn't. So the Lich King is definitely in there. It will definitely help in this matchup, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when Paladin is Priest is not on the board yet, which is pretty common for turn 2.
Right. And Paladin really wants to get some early minions out here and take control of this board.
The way the hand's shaping up though is like you're gonna miss here. You can still play your title hand from your hero power.
And that is the downside of this list that Ramrod's running, is that you don't have as many early game Murlocs to guarantee that early game board.
That's true. And then here is a situation where you have to maybe trade in both your Murlocs to deal with one minion. You could potentially roll, but I think that, or you could maybe gamble a little bit. Actually, no. They decided to use the coin here on the True Silver Champion. We'll trade out the 4/1 silver title hand.
And I like this play.
I think this is the best play you could hope for in that spot, because you don't want to commit your War Leader here.
Right.
You don't want a Megastore here either. You might be looking at doing like 2 Murlocs this turn.
Right, and running the hero into the Tar Creeper.
Yeah. So
definitely
with
feels good.
with the Rockpool Hunter draw, your best bet here might be to just run out your 2 Murlocs in your hand and then look for a turn 5 Megastore.
Right, with potentially turn 3.
Or even a turn. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
You first.
Right, so potentially running out the 2 Murlocs and then looking at next turn either a War Leader or a Megasaur to buff them up.
Right. So you could do that. You could run out your Cobalt Scalebane.
Oh, right.
And then do a turn 6 title hand into Megasaur.
It's all gravy. Lots of good options for the Paladin.
But you can
right
see
now.
on the far right, you can see a simple with an answer.
And the Getaway Coda, which has been chosen consistently throughout this finals.
Yeah, for this matchup, that and Redemption are what you're looking for, because you need to try to recoup some of your minion value here.
Be able to refill those boards after
Yeah,
they get
like
cleared
any
out.
minion that goes to your hand is something you can still use. Is something that's still like valuable, and you kind of want to make sure you hold on to. So the Rockpool Hunter gonna go down onto the Hydrologist, buffing it +1/+1.
And Team Ramrod's board looking pretty strong now, with a weapon also to back up the minions. Although Simple does have that Dragonfire Potion waiting to strike once again.
Yeah, the question is, when do you pull the trigger on that?
Right. And let's
see what
tune
let's
in
see-
and see what Simple's
Yeah,
saying.
let's see what Simple's saying about that, the situation at hand.
Yeah.
We're just so if they Megasaur, +3 health is actually
Pretty relevant.
yeah. That put them right outside of range. Alright, don't get it. +1/+1. +1/+1. We'll take the damage. Or Wind Fury will take the damage, or can't be
yeah.
targeted will take the damage. Or +3 attack will take the damage. Basically anything except
Anything besides the spores.
Yeah, the spores would
the
be
spores
both.
and the +3 health would be, but everything else we're just absolutely fine with. And I think they didn't get good picks.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They got like
They didn't even
Poisonous.
hover over anything yet.
Yeah. That's okay, as long as they don't have Tarum.
So we still Dragonfire this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Living Spores coming out
Yeah,
as dreaded.
you can
by
see they
Simple.
actually got 2 of the other picks they thought they would take, but actually, I think the Spores was actually the correct pick,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
because you have a ton of stuff you have a ton of targets now. If they get a Tarum,
Tarum would be devastating
would have been the
here.
best possible draw. But I'm not unhappy with Spike Ridge G. At least you have something. This will play into Spirit Lash,
Right.
so some of this damage will, be negated.
And this will be a full clear with a silence as well.
Yeah, if
Silence
you
and
do
the Spirit Lash is
so
gonna
the
be
Spirit
devastating.
Lash is kind of rough here, and they're looking actually to recoup some extra health off the Radiant Elemental being in play.
Absolutely. And, potentially healing the Radiant Elemental. I think Priest is happy to
Well, I think he
heal
might
and
actually
pass.
not want to put the Radiant Elemental on. I think one extra health isn't going to make or break you here,
Okay.
but you can kind of like go put out some minions here. One of which has a cycling effect, so kind of relevant. Okay, so you could do Vilefin Inquisitor into the Spike Ridge Steed. You could do Patches into the Spike Ridge Steed, which would be pretty nuts. But there is a punishment in here.
There is a punishment. That Galaka Crawler, which just entered Simple's hand, threatening to punish that Patches.
Yeah, I think
And Simple knows
Ramrod-
that Galaka's in that. Or Ramrod knows that.
there is a Patches
Oh.
package involved. Oh, but I
But
don't
they're
think
rolling the dice.
I think they're going to roll the dice on the one of Galaka Crawler, and I think
That is gonna
Simple is
hurt.
going to be rewarded heavily
Absolutely.
for pushing through that. There is the Shadow Reaver Anduin again.
Oh, and things are starting to look up for Simple.
He does have a target for it. Should he get another buff, like a Bone Mare or something?
Right.
Ross of the Chain coming into
Raza
the
coming
hand.
out.
This is getting
Oh,
really,
boy,
really.
this is bananas.
This is kind of what the dream scenario for the Priest player here.
Let's tune into Simple here and see how their voice comms are sounding now.
Oh my lord. We have to... What just happened? How did it happen this way? Well... Okay.
The deck kind of gets there.
That rude.
And bro,
Thanks for me.
Based priest.
I can hear his laugh now. And his fucking flannel.
Okay, so you can see. I think it goes without saying that Simple was pretty happy with the Raza draw there.
Feeling pretty good about
Feeling
it.
pretty good about things now that with the Shadow Reaver in hand and with the Raza top deck.
And those two cards giving them all the tools that they will need to answer the Paladin's threats. And
Oh yeah, this is gonna be crushing.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, you
The
have
Shadow
a
Reaper
three.
just clearing
Yeah,
everything.
even though you lose your own Raza here,
Yeah,
you leave
man.
them with nothing. And you push 2
Hard
more. And you actually
punish.
push 2 damage to them. You actually push 5 more damage to them.
Absolutely.
Now you can see Simple, very much so, in prime position.
Leading the race, and a Ramrod left behind.
Ooh.
Let's tune into their voice comms, Team Ramrod, and see if they
See
can
if they
find a way out.
Yeah, see if they can hold
Boy.
it together.
So we need
Hydrologist.
hydrologist.
See if we can get getaway cover if possible.
No.
Nope. Why not? Noble Sack does nothing. Repentance does nothing. Eye for an Eye does nothing.
Repentance might do something if he plays Velen, but
That's probably the best one. So grab that one and Cobalt Scale Boy and Repentance.
All right, so you can see, right, you can hear on the comms, Ramrod kind of, I don't want to say in dire straits, but definitely feeling a lot of pressure, trying to find a way to navigate the current situation. And they're actually going to be rewarded for their efforts, as Simple does not play around the Repentance.
Right, with
I
the
mean, it's not super relevant. They didn't have to do that because Velen is still going to push a ton of damage.
and I think they just have
They
lethal
actually do
here,
have
right?
lethal here, so it didn't even really matter.
Right.
So there it is,
So
game
they're happy to
5.
drop Valen. Game 5 coming down, and Simple up 4-1 now.
And now, I think you kind of have to pull the rogue out of your pocket and say, "Listen, this is how we're gonna get back in this game."
Absolutely, and obviously there are a few good matchups against the Rogue, but the Rogue always has a possibility of just drawing Kel'Seth and doing rogue stuff.
Well, the rogue is just a really good thing. Like classically, rogue has done very well against priest. Even when Miracle and oil rogues were the rogue order of the day.
Right.
You still had a very good matchup against most priest decks.
Absolutely.
And I think this is actually something where you're actually kind of slightly favored because you can still get that really fast start and get off the blocks and really hammer it to them and maybe you build a threat if I recall I think they have a vicious fledgling deck, so a vicious fledgling coming out and getting liquid membrane.
Right.
Really hard to deal with.
And so that's going to be the line that... oh, and it looks like, no, we're seeing a Warlock pick here.
And so, yeah.
This is Ramrod Zulok, I believe.
That's right. They are playing Zulok. They're not playing Control. So they're opting to go with the Zulok here. This deck can actually give Priest some problems. Again, same thing. Fast start puts a ton of pressure on the Priest.
Right.
And makes it very difficult for them to do the things the Priest does.
So Ramrod looking to generate as much pressure as they can before turns 5 and 8.
Right, and the other thing is
come out.
The other thing is Zoo currently playing Blood Reaver Gul'dan.
Right.
And if you resolve a Blood Reaver Gul'dan before they can resolve their Shadow Reaver Anduin, you're usually in a pretty good spot.
Especially if you've gotten a few Despicable Dreadlords or
Lords out. As long as you can recoup some demon value, you definitely have the ability to end the game before things become out of hand with their Shadow Reaver. So,
and a strong early game curve for Team Ramrod here. A real opportunity to come out the gate strong here and give Team Simple a run for their money. Should we tune into Team Simple's voice comms?
Yeah, let's see what they're thinking about the current situation.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we just played a 3-4.
3-4.
It's stats. Stand.
So their best play here is Pirate.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
not
not
Pirate.
it.
Oh, we can steal a guy. Wait, do we have the full clear? Hold on.
Wait.
Hold on. If we Spirit Lash, there's a full clear in here
it's
somewhere.
off
Are you sure?
Because this is 1 plus 3.
So we could leave them with a 1 health Tar Creeper if we wanted to.
But then they get a 1 health one of these.
Oh no, we'd be trading.
No, doesn't the health on that change? The attack on that change?
Wait, what? Oh.
Yeah, the attack left it down on 1. So I think it's Figuzakas.
Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
So seeing that a potential full clear was not available using Potion of Madness, opting to go for the Kazakus potion, and that you gotta think they've been looking for AoE here.
They're looking for that sweet 4 damage to all minions, but
They
they
did not
haven't
get
gotten it. Yeah, so
I think
probably opting for the 5 damage here, and let's see, 5 damage
and
and
2 friendlies.
2 friendlies.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
Which in this case actually has a pretty good chance of giving you 3 3s or better, given the 3 drop and the
Yeah, I
Kazakus.
mean you could potentially use your current board to cripple their board and then bring it right back.
Absolutely. And the 5 damage looking strong against the Darkshower Councilman and the Tar Creeper as well.
So looking like Ramrod looking to maybe cement some protection for the Councilman.
Right, and start pushing damage, and hopefully they'll be able to get 1 more minion out here, bring it up to 4 attack, and that's going to be the magic number.
Yeah, put it at least out of range for a turn.
Right, until the possibility of Dragonfire Potion enters.
Right, so a Dragonfire Potion here is pretty. I don't want to say backbreaking, but it definitely hurts. The good thing about the thing about Zoo Warlock is you do have access to draw whenever you need it, so you can rebuild your hand at the expense of your own health, which is a resource. So not getting a maximum value out of the Kazakus potion, but clearing out the Darkshower Councilman.
Right.
I think that was probably a smart line. You don't want to them building a monster out of that is not healthy for you in the slightest.
Recognizing that they have no Shadow or Death in their hand.
Right.
And that is one of the ways that Ramrod runs away with this game.
Yeah.
Should we tune into Team Ramrod's voice comms?
Yeah,
and
let's see what
they're
their thoughts are here.
We'll see.
Taking
That.
out.
Pray we don't lose Bone Mare. I could care less about the other two. I just want to keep Bone Mare.
Yeah. And we want to Soulfire the.
Soulfire the Cabal Talon Priest.
Yeah. Oh, there goes Bone Mare.
Of course.
And 2. So 1 goes.
All right, so Ramrod taking the gamble on the Soulfire. I don't mean to be negative. I think I disagree with that line there. Like, you didn't really need to gamble that hard.
Yeah, the 1 and 3, really a pretty devastating outcome for Team Ramrod, who needs things to go their way right now.
Yeah.
Definitely a risky gamble.
And look what's just entered Team Simple's hand.
Oh, the Dragonfire Potion.
Isn't it amazing that they just seem that it seems like Team Simple always has the Dragonfire Potion in any matchup where AoE is relevant.
Yeah, isn't that supposed to be a one-off?
I know. It's like, that's crazy. How do I do that?
Yeah, I'll have whatever they're having.
Yeah.
And the Wild Pyromancer Spirit Lash is another potential clear. Not to mention the Prophet Veil and Spirit Lash on 9.
Well, I mean, you can hold it for the Mind Blast you just drew now.
Right, Mind Blast coming in hand as well.
I think they're going to use the Potion of Madness here to get rid of one of these Malkazar Sims, though.
I think recognizing that if a Doomsayer, or Doom Lord, sorry, comes out next turn, they don't want
Doomguard,
additional draws.
Yeah, getting additional draws from Doomguard would be good. Not quite a Doomguard, but Despicable Dreadlord. Something very hard for Priest to deal with. And
especially against this Priest board, looking pretty strong, although the Acolyte will likely be getting full value here, unless the Atreus Veteran comes out to deal with it immediately.
So Arcaris Veteran is a card that kind of filled in the spot where normally Abusive Sergeant would be, because the minion does keep the attack, and it actually can trade up because of its two attack.
Oh, absolutely. So a few upsides since we saw the nerf recently.
Yeah, the nerf to Abusive Sergeant happened, I believe at the beginning of Standard format, believe it or not.
Right. So Blizzard recognizing that Zulok will always be a deck to have to keep under control.
Yeah, well, you have to keep 1-drops that trade up the curve in check, and that's one of those that did that, and allowed you to do it with other minions too. All right, so you can see here that Ramrod kind of definitely on the back foot here, unfortunately.
And with Raza the Chains, Simple having all the tools they need and not really feeling the pressure too much. Oh, or are they? Let's tune into their voice comms and see what Team Simple's talking about.
I'm gonna need you to chill out, sir.
That's what the fans want to hear.
We got fans.
I like this. And then Glimmer Root. Oh, we should do Glimmer Root first.
Yeah, we should go to the first. Valen, next turn.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yep. Let me just. Yep.
If you used one Bone Mare,
Yeah.
that would be the scariest.
Bone Mare. If he has Bone Mare.
All right, so Simple feeling pretty confident about the situation with Ramrod picking up the Prince Keleseth, which is a kind of like a all-star card that kind of creeped into the meta post nerfs patch.
And it was definitely a card that I saw some Reddit threads where it was heavily predicted to be a terrible card.
And then all of a sudden, not so much.
All of a sudden, people aren't talking so much.
It's like, yeah.
Definitely one of those cards that wasn't easy to get a read on initially because it does require a special deck building. And we do see those cards that require a deck to be built around them once in a while. But they don't always make it into the meta like Keleseth has.
Okay, so Vicious Fledgling actually an interesting inclusion in this version of the zoo, but can give Priest some problems. granted certain buffs that it could receive.
Oh, absolutely. +1/+1, for instance, for the
+1/+1.
attack.
Yep. I think liquid membrane is definitely one that I've been a fan of.
Oh,
It just makes it
absolutely.
completely uninteractable.
Absolutely. And you could see Simple at this point starting to just count the outs, as we heard in their voice comms earlier, thinking about Bone Mare, thinking about what is it that Ramrod can draw now to give them a
they don't
way
have
out.
they don't have a whole lot of demons to recoup with Gul'dan,
Right.
but Gul'dan is still good enough.
They have at least, I think, one Despicable and
One Despicable
and how
Dreadlord
many-
and one Void Caller.
One Void Caller has
Or
come
Void
out.
Walker,
Void
excuse me.
Walker, sorry, has come out. So a few good options here. And Simple respecting the Flappy Bird, as you must.
Yeah, actually full healing their board.
And let's tune in and see what Ramrod has to say dealing with this situation.
You gotta spell. You have to spell breaker. Fucking.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
And I guess we gotta.
There's nothing.
Do we
else
even-
you really do?
Do we even
Fledgling?
tap here?
No, fledgling out. Just throw everything out. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
And as we can see, truly dire states for Ramrod, who is just going all in, hoping that somehow
Oh,
Simple will not have the answers.
Yeah, they actually have lethal represented in hand at present with the Mind Blast.
Oh, and the Mind Blast.
Sure, it does
dealing
close the game
17 damage, and then extra 1 needed somewhere, right?
Are they just
I'm
not?
not seeing
Are we
the
just
one.
seeing some mild BM here? Do they not see the lethal?
I'm seeing 17 damage. Am I missing something? Or?
Oh, the Val. They're too off. You're
Because
right.
the Valen is has been silenced.
So they need
So
smite.
trying to get some direct damage here.
There's some right there.
And there's the Holy Fire, so, but opting for the
They can still
shield
draw it.
instead. Hoping for maybe
There's
a
another one.
smite.
Take it. All right, take 2.
Take 2, why not? Oh, and a mind control. Not really what they're looking for here.
Yeah. One more shot to close the game out. No, not quite.
And now
that-
Simple left to have to
Opt for
deal
you opt for the trade on the vicious fledgling there. I would not want to allow that thing to get off the
to go
to
off,
take,
so to
to
speak.
take flight. Yeah.
Right. And that is Simple has to respect the very few outs that Ramrod does have left, and that includes a vicious fledgling.
And Ramrod now realizing they are out of outs. We'll put Simple up to 5-1
And
with the on tournament point.
tournament point for the entire series, and Team
And now-
Ramrod left to their rogue now.
This is a deck that Numsky is extremely comfortable piloting. One of the best, in my opinion, one of the better pilots in the area of rogue decks. Something he's extremely comfortable on. So leaving their comfort pick for last might play into their favor a little bit. It's just a matter of, again, it's against in the priest matchup is how good is your start.
Absolutely, and it's really going to come down for the rogue to whether they can have enough early game pressure to put the priest in a bad spot before all of their big combo pieces come out. But let's not discount Team Ramrod just yet, because
Yeah,
Tempo
there's
Rogue
still
has
as
a
long
chance
as you
to
have
sweep the
one
whole
deck
thing.
left, you're
Oh,
still
absolutely.
not out of it.
And if I was going to pick one deck to have left in this
It'd
tournament,
be Tempo
Rogue would be right up there.
One of the quote best decks in the meta.
Oh, absolutely. So
right.
let's
Now let's hop into game
hop
number
in
7.
and see these mulligans here.
Oh, and we see right away into Team Ramrod's head the Prince Keliseth.
And Galaka Crawler on in Team Simple's hand as well. So
So they do have a counter.
potential
They do have
answer.
countermeasures to a turn 1 Swashbuckler.
Absolutely, but Team Ramrod not holding any pirates in their opener.
Not
very
at the moment,
strong
at
2,
least.
3, 4 coming in here.
There might be some merit to keeping the Shaku in this matchup. Actually, getting extra cards against the Priest has some merit because
Just to generate that pressure.
Yeah, you need some resources.
Absolutely.
Trades it in though, finds themselves some of their late game, including the Lich King.
Yeah, not necessarily what they're looking for here. They're looking more for a South Sea captain.
But you can see in the far left in Simple's hand, they have already picked up the Raza in their opening hand.
So both teams drawing into the key legendary that they want, or one of them for the priest.
Yeah, and for the rogue, there's not any legendary is key, but Kelset does make your deck infinite.
It doesn't hurt, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does make your deck 70% better.
It certainly does. Adam referring to the win rates, of course, which are much, much higher with Keleseth and the Mulligan.
I actually didn't know that was a statistic until you brought it up.
Right, yeah. So looking at Hearthstone replay data, there are stats on individual cards, and with Keleseth in the opening hand, it's an average of 70% win rate.
That's crazy.
Which is incredible.
Ooh, who pulls a backstab off the Glimmer Root?
Oh, and what are the odds of that? Ramrod just seems cannot get any luck here in this tournament.
They do have a countermeasure. It just costs a lot of resources to go with the backstab SI7 agent.
Right, and it does get them 4/4 on board, which is nice against the priest.
Yeah, and it does.
It looks like they're gonna opt for it. Should we tune into Simple's voice comms and see if they can find?
I actually want to see what Ramrod's thinking, because that was a lot of resources to use to eliminate a potential threat.
Absolutely. Let's turn into Team Ramrod here.
I don't really want a pirate, to tell you the truth.
No.
That's actually good, so just...
No, I'm gonna save it. Yeah, I'm gonna save it.
Team Ramrod contemplating whether to use that dagger charge or not. Do they want that extra point of damage now or later?
I think you may as well have just taken the extra damage.
And definitely seeing the Shadow Reaper, the Raza, and the Kazakis all in hand. It looks like Simple once again has all the tools that they need.
If you take a look at the Kazakis potion that they picked up, they actually picked up a pretty nice one for this situation. 4 damage to everything and a 5/5.
That is tempo right there.
That was kind of what Rogue is looking to do, and now you're doing it.
Right.
Kind of wild.
And the 4 damage dealing with this 4/4, which they otherwise would not have an answer for.
Well, it deals with a lot of their deck, actually.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you have 4 damage is quite a bit against the Rogue deck.
Really anything up until they get to their Bone Mares and Lich King and the
yeah,
like.
So, yeah, I think there's a Cairn in this deck, too. Cairn
Right.
Yeah.
And the South Sea Captain entering the Rogue's hand as well, but Galaka Crawler lying in wait, scuttling in the sand.
Ready to pounce on any pirate it sees fit to kill.
Absolutely. It
maybe-
has a vendetta, clearly.
Mainly against patches. Oh, and I think Ramrod recognizes even if they did have the Galactic Crawler, that they couldn't play around it.
It's time to go. It's time to do some damage.
Oof.
Oh boy.
More
And
AoE.
Simple
is
just getting
backed up.
everything they need. Let's tune into Simple's voice comms to see how they're feeling right now.
Yeah.
Twice on the deck.
So how are you guys going to spend your money? I'm going to buy this new Hearthstone expansion that's coming out.
That's actually probably be using too. Because I'm an addict.
So you can see a lot of confidence on in the Simple camp with the current state of affairs.
Simple feeling pretty good, and I can't blame them with Raza, Shadow Reaper,
Yeah, and the way
Dragonfire Potion,
the way their hand's shaped out is
Galaka Crawler.
just. This is just like when you talk about best case scenarios, this is definitely like one of those instances. Like, not only did you have best case scenarios as far as ordering of cards that you received in your hand, you had a really good pull off the Curious Glimmer Root and a really good potion off of Kazakis.
Just getting all the answers that they've been looking for, and the only outs I'm seeing now for Team Ramrod are maybe just a bit of extra pressure from that early Keleseth. We see the Sarnite Chain Gang, for instance. It's going to be generating 3/4s,
Yeah,
which is pretty nice.
Yeah, the Kelseth buff. Opting not to trade.
And
I think that is actually the winning line. If we can't, I think trading is kind of out the door.
yeah, I think Ramrod recognizes they need to put this damage in. It's only turn 7, so Shadow Reaper cannot come down. So I really like this Bone Mare
But
play.
they are gonna get see a full player.
That's right, and
But you can still play your Serenite Chain Gang and get some. You can actually play 2 Chain Gangs if you really want to.
and the Lich King is also a possibility here, and why not? Because now maybe they can get a card off the Lich King, which can give them some extra gas in the tank.
What do you really look? I guess what would you really be looking for here, Nick?
I would be looking for maybe stealing a minion.
Probably
from
not
the
Anti-Magic
priest's
Shell
deck.
though.
Not Anti-Magic Shell. And Shadow Reaper coming down now, and
Clearing the Lich King.
things are looking grim for Team Ramrod. Let's tune in and see if they can find a way out of this situation.
See if they can muster some confidence and pull this back.
Let's see what Team Ramrod is talking about here.
Okay, we seem to be having some difficulty with the comms at the moment, but
Opting with the Saronite Chain Gang play here.
yeah, I think they might. Is there merit to shadow stepping here and getting another Chain Gang?
Well, it does debuff one of
Oh,
them.
it does debuff
so
it. Ooh. Anti-Magic Shell actually came in handy.
not bad. You know, given the situation, Shadow Reaper has come down now, and those are now untargetable.
You need something.
And the Bone Mare will be able to buff those 5/6s because it's not a spell.
So, Simple recognizing that minions no longer being targetable,
It's pretty good.
it's pretty good. It's now looking to go for a little bit over the top damage.
And maybe a glimmer of hope for Team Ramrod.
I think so. Well, they have Bone Mare into Bone Mare Cold Blood. That's a ton of damage.
That's an extra 8 damage, 18 damage coming in next turn.
Yes, that'll put the priest to 11 with so it's a 2-turn lethal.
And potentially they could shadow step the Bone Mare if they wanted to.
They could, yeah.
Have seen that happen before where, you know, you can generate
Now
another
it's a
4
matter
burst
of,
damage.
does the priest have enough gas to close it out?
Priest starting to
it-
feel the heat here, and they are going in as well.
Ooh, nice pickup with the. I
The
pick up with
South Sea.
the South Sea. So that would represent the second turn lethal, where you play the South Sea and
Absolutely.
can close out the game. But I think here you're looking to do like a bone.
And that South Sea is a 3/2 now.
Yeah, so your options are you could weapon and do it that way, or you could do it the way with the Bone Mare.
And the Shadow Step makes this 5, so we have 9, 13, 23 damage here.
It's close. Puts him to 6. I think they would just do a 2-turn though.
And I like that.
I think that's fair.
Do you think they keep the Shadow Step here, Adam? For the Cold Blood activator? It's got to be a tricky decision.
I think you have to at this point. Well, you lose your 3/2 because you might
Maybe
lose
they
your
figure
3/2.
whatever they top deck they can use to activate.
Using
anyways.
for the Bone Mare. So that
Yeah.
actually does represent. This is enough to kill it. So they went for the option to put them at 11 instead.
But with the Mind Blast, this may be lethal.
I think so. So that's
I
2,
think
7.
it is.
Well, let's just count. Yeah, they have enough cards to play. So that is
And that
actually going to
is
wrap it up.
And that is game, set, and match.
For Team Simple, your inaugural Hearthstone Team Brawl champions.
It's been
And
a grueling
well played
6
all
weeks, and,
around.
obviously, a great performance from Team Ramrod. You know, doing its best to stay up, but Team Simple, who's been a real force to be reckoned with this entire tournament, now finishing and prevailing.
finishing in stride.
Absolutely, and
Okay. So